I think one of the biggest issues, especially for early retainers, is finding out how to properly transmute this energy, how to properly deal with feelings of pressure, of tension, of anxiety. Whether it's nicotine, alcohol, PMO, these are all ways to calm the nerves, right? To let go of this tension that's built up, this anxiety. But ultimately what it is it's throwing our nervous system out of whack. It's making things worse. We're not actually healing it. We are getting hits of instant gratification. We're getting hits of pleasure to counteract these feelings of anxiety, of depression, of tension. And after a few minutes, we're right back to those feelings, even worse. And we don't know how to break that cycle. Well, I'm here to tell you, it has to do with experiencing those feelings, experiencing the feelings of tension, of pressure, of anxiety, and letting the focus, the presence, the awareness settle on those feelings and dissolve them naturally without the need for having an external outlet that's just inevitably going to make things worse. See, relapses typically don't stem from an initial lustful impulse, I don't think. They deal with the inability to, or they occur due to the inability to handle the stresses that occur during everyday life. And we haven't necessarily developed a healthy outlet like going to the gym, breath work, eating healthy, grounding in nature, getting sunlight, calling a friend, reading a good book. We just automatically go to the instant relief of nicotine, PMO, marijuana, alcohol, whatever it may be. And it's never really addressed. The underlying feelings are never really addressed as a result. And so I encourage you, gentlemen, to really dig down deep, find out why you want to do this in the first place. If you're watching a video on retention, clearly it's of interest. Because there's going to be times where you're really tested, especially if you start to get into multiple months, multiple years, I'm assuming, where the reason as to why you're retaining has to be so vivid, has to be so strong, it has to be a consistent, solid reminder that the desire to go back isn't stronger than the desire to go forward. When you cut all of this stuff out, it frees up a lot of mental space. Imagine what you can accomplish, what you can achieve when all of that mental space isn't applied to mindless lust, mindless pursuit, mindless drama. Ooh, does she like me? Ooh, I don't know. You know, it's when you can free yourself from that, when you can dispel the illusion of needing that validation, that's where the true feeling of being centered comes in. When you can take that free mental space and apply it to fulfilling the will of God in your life. Growing out of this habit to touch yourself. For what? What is the benefit? The desire to become the best version of yourself needs to outweigh the desire for instant gratification every time. That battle needs to always be won by the desire to self-actualize. And see, what retention also does is it helps get men out of the survival instinct to mindlessly procreate with anything that moves. And see, when you're not buzzing around looking, ooh, over here, oh, what's that? What's she, you're able to breathe, stay present, stay focused, stay calm. And what that teaches us to do as men is, regardless of what's happening externally, whether it's the stimuli of a beautiful woman, whether it's something dramatic, we are acting out of center. We're acting from where God wants us to act from. We're not acting out of a desire to satiate an impulse, or we're not thinking of something that's going to get us in more of a precarious situation. If there's something going on in your environment that requires you to stay centered so that you can act out of a calm, focused state, that ability requires men to completely eradicate these impulses and desires that prevent us from getting there. And so ultimately, retention is a first step, really. It really is the first step. Freeing your mind and your body from the desire to touch itself. See, when you give in to that impulse, you're giving into a carnal desire. Who's really acting? Are you yielding to a lower aspect of your nature? And if you continue to do that, what's going to be the result? Many of us men wonder why we're not where we want to be. And many of us men are unwilling to really reflect and look within and see what those reasons are. Why? Why is that the case? It's difficult to break out of that victim mentality and say, oh, it's this person, it's that person, when ultimately it's us. The reason why we're not achieving greatness is because we're not acting out of greatness. How do we expect to change the world when just a few hours ago we were in our room touching ourselves? And I don't want to hear this, that we don't have an imagination. How can we imagine this greatness? I can't even, I don't have an imagination. Well, if you can imagine your calloused man hand as being a female body part consistently day in and day out, I'm pretty sure that we can imagine many other things, greater things, better things. Where there's a will, there's a way. The first step is getting out of this self-defeating mindset. And I know it's difficult because many men get into a mindset of wanting to be self-destructive. And if you know that releasing is self-destructive, then you know exactly where you need to go to, quote unquote, punish yourself for something. But see, what does that do? Who does that serve? Nobody. Nothing. It is much better for you to retain and to stay focused and to stay centered and to be present for your family, for your community, for yourself, and to be authentic, to not hide behind some false persona of who you think people want you to be, but to actually be yourself. And the confidence, the ability to be yourself, comes with retention. I'm telling you that firsthand, man. You can make eye contact with people. You can hold full conversations. You're not afraid to sit in silence. You're not afraid to go within. And see, what that does is it heals yourself and it heals the environment, those around you, because you're acting out of a place of authenticity. And that authenticity, that authentic version of you, is healing. I encourage you to bring that out, brothers. I encourage you to go against the carnal nature. It takes practice. It takes discipline. Don't beat yourself up if you slip. Just get right back on. Beating yourself up is just going to prolong the progress. It's important that if something happens, that you get right back on the wagon. Don't give in to the lustful temptations. They're around, I know. And you can't stay inside. You can't get reclusive and stay in a hole for the fear of being around a beautiful woman. You have to learn to trust yourself. That it's an intrinsic, intentional action not to engage in a lustful thought or to look at a woman lustfully, but to keep your mind focused, to keep your mind centered, to keep your mind on God. Gentlemen, brothers, if you're struggling with this, I encourage you to click the link down below if you're looking for additional accountability. There is the Sons of God Discord community, as well as the Phoenix program one-on-one mentoring. Ultimately, this is a personal decision. Nobody can tell you to retain more than you can tell yourself the importance of retention. I encourage you to get to that point. Thank you for watching. God bless, and may peace be with you.